So I have not been on here in a hot minute, and I wanted to this morning make a inspirational kind of video. And I think that whenever I get downloads, I like to come on this channel because I clearly am brainstorming other channels, other websites, other things I want to do. So if you guys don't see me as much on this channel, I consider this channel like my spiritual hub where, I provide downloads, I do celebrity readings, I do zodiac updates, pick a card readings. That's really how I see this channel. But I definitely think that in the future I want to be able to shine other sides of my personality and myself. And so I don't want to put everything on here. But because I am logged into this channel right now, this is a channel that I'm going to be dropping some gems on about life as player one mode. Okay. So I may ramble a little bit in this video. I just think that there are some things that I've learned about life, and I think that it's really important to be able to share experiences and knowledge that you feel you've gained with this thing called life. I just think that life in its essence is very wondrous and complex, and most of the time very hard, very, very difficult. And so, as I journey through life, as each year passes, I'm so grateful. Alarm went off. I'm so grateful for the knowledge I do have. And if I'm able to kind of make videos or posts or, whatever to share, to really share like what I've learned or what I'm feeling right now or what's going on in the world, I try to come on here. So I don't believe that people should live life with regret. I think that living a life of regret is probably one of the worst things you could do. And from when I was very, very young, I always told myself that I don't want to live a life that I'm not proud of. I don't want to live a life that I feel is somebody else's. And so, on a personal level, I really feel like I pride myself on staying true to myself and staying in my own lane and doing what makes me happy. And so I really just kind of wanted to speak on that topic. If you're a person tuning in where you're wanting more from life, or you're trying to figure out what's the next step in your life, or there's something or a person, right, in your life or a situation that is out of your control. It seems out of your control, right? I want to speak on the duality of life. I want to speak on how do you overcome, how do you overcome the complexity of life? How do you level up? How are you able to be all that you want to be and focus on things that are important to you? And from when I was very young, I always had a level of awareness that I realized other people didn't really tap into or know. And then I don't think it was until 18 or 21, around that time, 18 to 21, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze, 18 to 21, where I sneeze a lot, you guys. It's allergies, it's hot, it's cold. So excuse me, okay? So from 18 to 21, I, had my spiritual awakening, yada, yada, yada. and came across a lot of Eckhart Tolle books that spoke about the pain body, that spoke about awareness, that spoke about how to stay present. And I really never could, there was never like a title, there was never any sort of like method to being aware of yourself, being present. There was really no word for it. I just remember that there'd be times where I'd be at events or on vacation or having fun, and I would say to myself, really cherish this because, one day this is just going to be a memory. Like right here, right now, really enjoy, the people, the atmosphere, what you're participating in. Like, for example, being at a theme park, you're in a line waiting to go on a ride, and everything is like euphoric. And I remember saying to myself, really cherish this, really stay aware of this, really take this in. And I really could never describe like what that feeling was. What is that feeling? Until I had my first, major introduction of a spiritual awakening where I was able to break away from belief systems and ideologies and concepts that were taught to me when I was very, very young and get rid of it, toss it in the trash, and begin to create a new slate, a clean slate, and say to myself that, okay, you know what? It's time for you to ask the questions about life, about the universe. It's time for you to be able to boldly do research and not just be shut down every single time because of how you are raised or because of, what society sort of gave you, but to extract that, throw it away, and then say to yourself, okay, so what are the questions that you want answered? What are the things that you want to have happen in your life? And how can we go about getting that, achieving that? That was really my thought process. And I was very young to think that way. Like looking back, I think I was definitely onto something, but at least for my lifetime, for my current existence in this vessel, it made sense why I had to be super young and basically start over, basically approach life like a blank canvas. And that's something that is really hard to do. And so when you're trying to get to where you're going, that is really how it feels. It's territory that no man or woman has gone before. A lot of times, friends you're associated with, or family, or co-workers, etc., may have never walked your path. And I know a lot of you can relate to this. And in my own personal life, that is definitely how it's been. And the more wisdom and wiser I get with more years of experience living life, I realize that everybody has their own world that they are literally living in. Every single person has their own idea of the exact same person, place, or thing or situation that is not like you. And so, a little tidbit, this is why when certain people, as crazy as, some people's perspectives are, or whatever they say, I'm always the kind of person to be like, well, you know what? If that's what helps that person sleep at night, if that religion, or if that diet, or if that person is as toxic as they are, makes that person happy, then who am I to judge? Like, who am I to say that they can't do that or say that or be that? Even if it makes no sense to me, I've always been that kind of person. I think, as just having Libra placements, to be more specific, I've always been that kind of person where, yes, I can be bold and say my own opinion if it's asked of, if I feel like I need to share it. But when it comes down to it, like the base level, if somebody thinks opposite of me, or is saying something that I think is crazy, at the end of the day, I will accept it like as their truth, as that person's truth, because it is their truth. It is their truth. And so, speaking about in this video, how you're able to tap into the life, the reality that you want, and to whatever that is, there's a process. There is definitely, I would say, a process of elimination. And there is belief systems, there's things that you have to get rid of in a way. There's things that you have to shed, like shedding old skin in order to go to the next level. But here's the catch, it's like snakes and ladders. Ever heard of that game, or you've seen a movie where they refer to something as a snake and ladder, or the next level, or the next mountain, the next stage? Such as life. Life is the exact same way. It is a process of an invisible fight every day. There is going to be something, good and in between and neutral. And there is going to be unusual things, especially the times we're living in, that we're going to see that we have, experienced, that we have occurred or brushed into, and what I'm really fully realizing is like, this is all about you. And when I say you, I'm referring to the I am, myself, yourself. It's about how we feel. It's about how we live. Because no matter how hard or down somebody says they love you or they care about you, nobody is able to go into your own mind, your own heart, your own emotional state, and tweak that and tap into that. It's all you. It's all you. There's nobody on this planet besides Source itself that is always going to know what you're thinking, that is always going to that knows all your secret goals and ambitions and dreams and life plan and talents and flaws. This is why when certain teachings or people say know thyself, it really is intense. And then in addition to that, they say the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual. Now, I had a moment with that yesterday where I finally understood what that means. It's all mental. It's all energy down to the exact point. And it's a warped kind of thing because at the same time, you can manifest what you want. You could do and try all you want, what you want to bring in or be a magnetic attraction to. But at the exact same time, there's all these other people and all these other timelines and all these other time zones and situations that are at random that can happen at the exact same time that you're in that space, that awareness, thinking of what's the next move, or how am I feeling today, or how can I feel better, or what I want to do next, or where do I want to go next, do I want to go out, do I want to stay in? Like, it's wild to me. Really hear what I'm saying on a soul level, you all. Like, the exact same time what you're thinking, someone else could be thinking. The exact same time you're going somewhere to bring some positivity, and something, negative is on the exact opposite side. So there is limits. There's unlimited. It's the duality. One cannot exist without the other, the yin and the yang. So just like how you could have a whole string of good days and then you have one bad day, why is it that one bad day feels like it's outcasted all the good days? You know why? Because the attention, the focus, the heightened focus and awareness of the negative emotions, somehow your body has given more power to the negative emotions, the more uncomfortable emotions, than the pure, positive, joyous, free emotions. So there's something within yourself that you have to identify and say, okay, like, how come this happens and I feel this, or how come that has happened and I'm thinking of this? Like, you really have to catch yourself. It also goes on to say, guard your mind, guard your heart, because it is at random. It's a game. Like, in a lot of ways, a lot of components of life feel like a game. And when people feel some kind of way about that, they get freaked out. It's something to be freaked out about. It's just like, at this point, through trial and error, through everyday living, that's really how it is. When a negative thought arises, you have to catch it and bring it back down and cast it out. It's literally all you. You're the one, right? You, me, I'm the one who's having to catch those negative thoughts, or I'm the one who's having to change course. I'm the one who's having to discern the atmosphere, the environment. I'm the one who has to make the choice. Okay, do I stay? Do I go? Do I participate? Do I draw back? That's a lot of work. When you think about it like that, or when you're aware of that, it's a lot of work. Okay? But it's something that when you're in the zone, when you're tapped in, when you have low resistance, you're able to outskirt that. You're able to, as I always like to say, you're able to override the planned default of how this world runs, and then you're able to elevate yourself beyond that, above that. You're definitely able to not feel every single negative emotion. And so what I also feel like I realized is that if you want to do something, do it. If your opinion is different than somebody else, still claim your opinion. It's better to be strong in yourself and ride solo than be around people who are leeches and fake and toxic and phony and trying to sabotage your success. Like, it's really better to be around a couple of really genuine people, or just even yourself, than going out in this matrix, going out in this world. As matrix is just a term, you all, but going out in this world, and then you're not paying attention to the fact that there are certain things, substances, people, place, things, ideas, words put in your mind that are literally robbing you, literally robbing us all of the life experience that we actually came down here to have. You know, people like to say, why can't life always be easy? Why can't life be this? Why can't life be that? Well, the next level, I want to say, state of human existence is tapping into that. As a collective, it may be time for people to actually tap into the what if, and start to really begin to try to brainstorm ways to actually create a more happier world, and to be better at weeding out the red flags and the negative people, and skirting out of the challenging situations. Like, in those challenging situations, in those challenging relationships, yes, there's a lot of gemstones, yes, there's a lot of lessons, but at the exact same time, you don't want to waste your time. Once you learn the lesson, once you see it for what it is, move on. Like, on to the next. Because the longer you're lingering in what is, or what was, or what could be, in a more downtrodden, negative sense, you're being robbed of all the other infinite possibilities of what good could happen as well. So keep that in mind. If you're stuck on something from the past, or you're living with regret, or you feel guilt about something, learn to forgive yourself. If nobody else is going to forgive you or understand you, taking responsibility and having the best life and having the best mental health, physical health, financial health possible is realizing that it starts with you. And that's where the real work begins. It's not going to be always smooth sailing from that point. When you realize things that you would have wished to do better or not do at all, or change, no need to feel bad about it. No need to beat yourself up about it. No need to, go and talk about it for eons and eons, because that is robbing you of the now. And only when you're present in the now can you begin to move with your full power and life force in the direction you want. Sometimes I'm not really on, certain social media platforms as much as, some other people in the world that are, hooked up to every app possible. I've never been that person. I love taking pictures. I love traveling, but I like my privacy to some degree. I do like to just live my life and not have to feel like I have to do anything necessarily. So I'm very selective in that sense. And what I will say is the rare time that I am on, a social media app where I am observing somebody else's, what they're posting or whatever on Instagram, like Instagram, for example, what I notice with people that are really living like, or I hope they're genuinely happy, but they portray themselves to be happy, is they're just positive. Like, point blank period. Like, it doesn't matter what horrible thing they've just went through. They're positive. Their mind is like Teflon. Nobody can get in, not their partner, not their kids, not their like nobody can get them off where they need to be. And I admire people like that, where no matter like what I think about them or whatever, like they're still able to keep true to themselves and keep pressing forward. And so this is how life is, you all. We could share 100 million experiences with people and take pictures and have fun all we want. But like at the end of the day, like nobody can get in your mind but you. Nobody can dictate how you feel but you. And that's why it's so important to not give your power to other people. I know in times like this, of late, I've seen a lot of, just for an example, I've seen a lot of celebrities and not, people just on Twitter, expressing mental health concerns, expressing how they're sick of living, they're sick of how unfair this world is, and I will agree with you. The world can be very unfair, but what I'm saying is that to maximize, right? To maximize the health, to maximize the better feelings of the experience in this reality that we're having, we have to override that. And that's what I'm really like beginning to realize. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual. It all starts with a spiritual experience, spiritual information, other dimensions, other realms. It is so much deeper than what I'm even saying right now, but that's how it is. Don't let the negative forces win. You've overcome all your bad days, and you're gonna keep overcoming, those blocks or bad days or whatever. Like, as long as you keep pressing forward, you're going in the right direction. But it's so important, especially with everything happening in the world, where we're not stuck. And that's what I think is the most detrimental part about what we've all been going through pre-pandemic and now still in it, is that it's an energy of stagnancy. It's an energy of horror, of terror, of shame. It's an era of, in the same token, violence, unspeakable violence. And so, like I said, in your mind, you're thinking like rainbows, butterflies, dream this, whatever. And then in reality, the reality keeps saying to you, that's not true. That's not true. Look at this horrible thing that happened. Look at the economy. Look at the, all the deaths. Like, there's always something trying to like nag at you and show you, hey, look over here. But that's always the wrong voice. That's always the wrong avenue. You get it? Like, that's what they want you to see. But what do you see? What are you acknowledging? So it doesn't mean that you can't be realistic. It doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge the world affairs or whatever the case may be, but don't get caught up to the point where they warp your reality, they warp your mind, they warp what information you're taking in, your energy field, and spitting back out. Because if you dwell on those things for too long, it's bound to affect your vibration. It's bound to make you think more negative than positive. And so it's not a state of being heartless. It's not a state of saying F you to everything and everybody. It's just the reality that, you know what, we all only have a limited amount of time. We're basically all on borrowed time. And when you really like let that sink in, you're gonna move different. You're gonna live different. And so I just wanted to be able to relate to people and share this video with people who I feel are ready for more out of life. And no matter what the world is putting out here and trying to contort and distort and make you feel some kind of way, like, we all go through this, but I just think that it's so important to know who you are. When you know that you're battling with a spiritual world that you can't even see, and there's things in this world you can't even see, like like around you, you know, you got to take that into perspective. Like, there's a lot that we don't know. You know, a lot of people that are more spiritual, they do know more, of course, but like majority of people don't know. They don't know what's been happening. They don't understand what's been happening. And so we don't have time to try to debate people. I don't have time to debate people. Like, I'm past that. Like, I'm way in my life, I'm way past that. Think how you want to think, move how you want to move, but what you're not going to do is disrespect me. What you're not going to do is mess up my blessing. You can't even touch my blessing. But what you're not going to do is be a negative energy in my life. And so I take that very seriously. And what I realized, like, it is definitely better, like 100 out of 100 times, to be solo and live how you want, think how you want, get things done, than be around a pack of hyenas, you know, and living in a world, this world that they want to portray to us, that's all doom and gloom. You know, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of living in a world where it's like we're living in, they call unprecedented times. And it's just so negative. Like, it is very negative. And like, you have to fight. You know, if you're somebody watching me where you struggle with mental health, or you've been in a position where like you feel like things in your life are really like sad or unfair, I want you to understand and listen to me very clear. You have to fight your way out of that. You know, it's this, the part about that I think is so hard for so many is it's you. You can't wait for somebody to help you. You can't wait for somebody to represent you. You can't wait for somebody to give you the okay, the check mark, the acceptance to do what you want to do. You literally have to take the bull by the horns and do it for yourself. Go get it for yourself, you know? And that's the part of the game of life, is they put obstacles in your face. They change the rules, right? Last minute. They throw a curveball. They always throw a curveball, but like, you have to be able to acknowledge that as little as possible. You have to be able to see it for what it is and move over that, move on. And any time in my life where I feel like I've dwelled upon a negative situation or a conversation for too long, I don't feel like myself, and I don't like that. And so I've had to catch myself. I've had to catch myself and be like, okay, this is not it. Like, that's BS, you know? I'm not going to live like that. I'm not going to think like that. Like, I'm not going to put my own everything, my body, my mind, my spirit, I'm not going to put myself in that position for somebody else's gain. I'm not going to let somebody else, I'm not going to let the negative energy in this world feed off of me. I'm not going to let that happen. And that's why, thirsty, it's hot outside. That's why I think so many people that are so successful, we see these, of late, we've been seeing these nonstop stories of people dying young, dying tragically, violence, all types of stuff. And you know why? It's because I like to think about it like, what is the most dominant thought? What's the most dominant energy? Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, like, what is the most dominant energy in my life that I'm putting out in the universe or that I'm receiving? Like, is it good? Is it bad? Like, that's hard to do. You know, that is a hard thing to do. Like, you have to really stop yourself and be like, okay, what am I attracting? What am I putting out? And be real with yourself. If you're putting out pure BS and you're not staying true to yourself and you're not taking care of yourself and you're not living in your truth, then bad things are bound to happen. Like, for real. And I've never really heard anybody describe it like this, but that's really how I think. Like, okay, before something bad happens or you hear something about somebody, right? What is the most predominant energy? Is it chaos? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it confusion? You know, is that what that person is the dominant energy that they're operating out of? Or is it a more light energy, focused, determined, ambitious, straightforward, confident? Like, which energy, you know? So when you're trying to help yourself, that's how you have to begin to, or open up like a lotus flower. That's how you have to begin to realize, is like, where are you trying to get to? What are you trying to do? And it's really a lot easier said than done. I think it's a lot easier said than done. Myself, I can watch other self-help videos. I can watch so-called enlightenment videos. I can watch videos people share their certain experiences of supernatural. I can watch all types of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, how can I apply this to real life? How can I apply what they're telling me to better myself? Like, that's how everybody should think, is like, especially if you're spiritual awakened, is like, how can I use this to help me? Instead of just hearing or clicking up and down, like, how can you actually better apply, like actually apply what you're hearing, what you're reading, what you're seeing for the better, for the better. And it goes down to yourself again. So obviously, depending upon the difficulty level and all types of stuff that you're going through, it's going to be harder. Like, true tea, like, depending upon the environment you're living in, the kind of life you're living, you're leading, the people around you, it can influence, if you let it. It can definitely make you go more towards a certain kind of frequency. But like I said, you have to fight. Life is like a battle. It's a challenge. It's a game. Um, and does it suck? I don't know. Sometimes it does suck, but like, as long as you're here, as long as I'm here, I realize, like, it is a battle, bro. If it's not a battle with some other fugazi fool, some crazy ish in the world, then it's yourself, or it's a loved one, or it's, maybe one of your favorite celebrities passing away, or whatever the case may be. It's always something, you know. Adult life is like, it's always something, and it's true. Being an adult, young adult, don't care, mature adult, older adult, whatever, elder, once you pass 21, 23, 25 up, yeah, you're, for all my younger audience, 18 and below or 21 and below, you're going to see what I'm talking about as you get older. Like, it's always something. It's true. It's always it's always something. But what we're trying to teach, and what I'm trying to master myself when I'm trying to speak about in regards to that is how to outskirt that if you can. And if not, how to better deal with it so that you're not stuck, because negative emotions keep us stuck. Repetitive negative things happening to us is what will keep us stuck. Constantly seeing tragic things in the news or in the world or being reported or whatever is not a good feeling, you know? And that's why it's like sometimes it's like, do you even read that stuff? Do you even watch that stuff? I don't watch the news. It don't mean that I don't know what's going on in the world. I just don't willingly put myself in a position where I want to hear about garbage all day long. You know, I'd rather read data. I'd rather read a short article telling me like the summary, the true points of a situation or a law or whatever, and move on. But I'm not going to sit in front of a TV. I'm not going to sit on social media and just keep digesting that negativity because, oh, that's how the world is. Well, why? Why does my world have to be like that? Why does your world have to be like that? Why can't we find ways to outskirt that? And it's not about dodging responsibility. It's about the fact that you're being responsible by guarding your heart, what, and your mind. Your mind and your heart. Your heart and your mind. Guarding yourself against that. Because here's a reality. If something bad happens to somebody, whether we know them or not, or if there's some kind of world tragedy, we don't have any control over that. Please understand. Like, it really be doing my head in when like certain programs literally be trying to tell people like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. Like, you know what? It's gonna happen regardless. What's gonna be is what's gonna be. Like if it's not in your control, don't waste too much energy on it, is what I'm saying. Because while you're wasting your energy on what you can control is going by the wayside, is getting forgotten, is forgotten. And then you wonder why months have gone by, weeks have gone by, days have gone by, and you're lost in the sauce. And so when you get lost in the sauce, you have to recoup and recoup quickly. And this is something that, through spiritual teaching and sermons, etc., that I've watched for myself and that I'm sharing with you all, for those who can resonate, is where I used to cringe. I literally, and maybe still do, I literally used to cringe when I would see pastors or whoever be like, oh, you have to fight, you have to think differently, you have to blah, 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 you know? And initially you're like, F you, I'm feeling some kind of way. Like, I'm not happy with blah, blah, blah. I'm not happy with this world. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of living like, whatever the case may be. But like, when people say that, like, know thyself, change your mind, change your vibration, think positive. It's not just hot air and gas, y'all. Really listen to what I'm saying on a soul level. It's not just hot air and gas. This is literally survival. Beyond survival. This is literally how you thrive, is by taking back power and control. You've got to take back power and control, or some other force out here or person, place, situation is going to take control of you. This is facts. Every single time you drop the ball, something else is in control. And you have to question, what is in control? Who is in control? What is happening? And it's a weird balance, because the times we're living in, the current times we're living in, can be perceived as very dark, very volatile, very turbulent. And so trying to, not even try, but manifesting and bettering yourself and wanting to have a fabulous life in these times, it can be very strange. I got to be honest with you. It can be like, am I even in this world? But then what do they say? You're not of this world. Renew your mind. You are not of this world. You're not meant to be of this world. You're only living in it. You have to separate. There's levels to this. You can't just fully immerse yourself in every single tragedy or concern of every single person. You cannot be You cannot be a people pleaser and be a happy person in its authentic, raw state. I've learned this the hard way. You cannot be a people pleaser. You cannot be a people pleaser and expect to be happy and not depressed and not stressed out. It doesn't go together. It does not go together. And this is why we're seeing so many people fall victim to addiction. This is why we're seeing so many celebrities, excuse me, pass away out of nowhere. And then when you hear what they've gone through, when you hear what they've put on their soul, when you hear how they think, you know now and you realize now why they're living the way they're living, because they're taking too much baggage on their own conscience. They're putting too much baggage, too much guilt, too much peer pressure, too much people-pleasing energy onto themselves. They're weighed down. Energetically, people that operate like this are literally weighed down. They're listening to everybody else's orders. They're following everybody else's orders, but they're not actually taking a moment to check themselves, to see with themselves what's going on. You know, they're following the crowd. They're following the herd. And that's exactly what is happening is it's so evident to me that people are getting caught up in multiple negative waves because they don't know any better. And unless you really get a hold of yourself and check yourself, you become a victim of that. Life goes by very quickly, you know? And a part of it that I feel like bring up is in regards to financial circumstances, right? That's a big one. That's a huge one. That's a huge part of it. People being afraid, people being pushed in a corner to think and be a certain way because they want to be paid. They want to be able to pay their bills. But that's the wrong angle, bro. When I've looked back on and I've drawn inspiration from really good days I've had in my life or success I've had in my life, it's only because I'm in a state of a flow. It's only because I'm in a flow. I'm not in resistance. It's only because I am focusing on what I want to happen. I've never had, I don't think that any, I don't, you know, there's no extraordinary day, fabulous day you're going to have by dwelling upon what somebody else thinks of you, by dwelling upon who did you wrong, who said this, who's saying that, who's going where, what's happening. That's never helpful. It's never like worrying, caring about how somebody sees you, changing yourself for other people. It's never going to help you. So please understand, if you are a chronic people pleaser, it is a curse and you have to break that curse off yourself. If you live your life solely for people's opinions about you, you can never be really happy. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a really, really hard time with life. So it's best when you're young or as young as or as alert as you are, whatever age you are, to really understand that people don't control you. They don't. They only control you if you let them. Call it rebellion, call whatever you want to call it. But like, you have to respect that. There's not every single celebrity in the world that I think is a good role model or an honest person. But you know what? If that person is grummy as they are, is being honest about how grummy they are, rather than be honest about how grummy they are, than be a fake. I'd rather somebody, if somebody is trash and is a bad person, I'd rather somebody show that to me and show that to people than be fake and then try to act like they're not that kind of person when they are. Like, I don't like that. So it really has to come down to what you want out of life. And all Honesty, when you're really serious about getting back on track, when you're really serious about manifestation, when you're really serious about having more amazing days than mediocre days and bad days and sad days, it really comes down to taking the pressure off yourself, stripping away the people pleasing thing, stripping away trying to appease other people's ego, stroke other people's ego. Like, that has to go. That has to go. In order for you to be a genuinely happy person, you got to be around genuine people, for one, if you want to be around people socially, and for two, you have to stop living for other people and start living for yourself. And whoever don't like it, don't like it. But I've never ever seen a good year, a good period, a good week in my life by being a people pleaser. I've never ever seen myself strive when I'm looking behind my shoulder. I've never seen myself being a really good energy when I'm listening to negative news and negative tragedy. I've never seen it. I've only seen amazing days when I am in control of my emotions, when I'm in control of what I'm feeding my mind, when I'm only listening to things that uplift me, that empower me, that push me forward. I've never seen somebody be negative 24/7 and have a great life. I've never seen it. So, as stupid as it may sound, thinking positively, being as positive as you can about your own outcome of your own future, your own present now, is the path forward. It is the path forward. So you came on this video to get some clarity about how you can go to the next level, how you can begin to manifest what you want. And so this is one of the keys, is you have to stop trying to live for other people. And you have to really walk in your essence and your truth. And not only that, you have to begin to train yourself to think positively. It's not enough to say, I'm going to try, but you're not doing. There's something that you're missing, that you're not doing. So what you have to do is backtrack and say, okay, how can I go about this differently? Is my own self-talk creating this cesspool? Or is somebody in your life speaking negatively in your life? Don't speak to them about certain things. I don't care if it's family. I don't care if it's your pet dog. I don't care if it's your best friend. If somebody in your life always has something smart to say, be very selective what you tell them. Because 9 out of 10 times, they're going to shoot down your idea. They're going to confuse you. They're going to control you. They're going to manipulate you. And that's the cold, dirty truth. They're going to try to have some kind of one-up power over you. And so the only way you're going to get out of a situation like that is if you take back your power. Is if you begin to think that, okay, you know what? That's not working for me. I don't like that. And be upfront about it, like whether it's to yourself or how you change your actions, or you getting yourself out of a situation, out of a certain relationship, friendship. Like you have to get away from that. You have to literally run. You have to literally run away from that, because the longer you're lingering in that, the longer you're participating in that, is the worse it's gonna get. And that's true tea. So thank you all for watching. I feel like that is a download that I wanted to give you all, the message I wanted to give you all. But no, on the real, begin to see the life you want, begin to lead the life you want. And it's not about being cold-hearted, in my opinion. It's not about not caring for people, but like, you cannot care for nothing outside of yourself except if you care for yourself. It's very hard for you and for people in general to extend themselves in all these different avenues and all these different things in life that life has to offer if you're not taking care of yourself. If you're not putting yourself at the top of the list, then you're putting yourself at the bottom. And the more things that are being added to you, you're pushing yourself lower and lower and lower. And that's exactly how you get in a low vibrational state, is if you are not putting yourself first and you're listening to all the negative voices, you're listening to all the negative news, listening to all the negative things, thinking about all the negative things. And then that's very hard to get yourself out of that state. When you're in a constant negative state, it's going to be harder to get out of that. So as soon as you see yourself going down that direction, or there's somebody that's just bothering you, or whatever the case may be, get out of it. Jump right out of it. I don't care what they say about you. I don't care how they giggle. It don't matter. Get yourself out of that situation, because it's going to perpetuate. And that's what the negative energy does. It spreads, it perpetuates. It's like black, like glue slime. It's like that kind of like thing you see in movies where it travels and it hovers over, and it becomes like tack, and it sticks and it hardens and it keeps you stuck. And so you have to kind of visualize it like you're wiping it away, you're pushing it away like a blank canvas. You're introducing a different chapter in your life. You're introducing a different season in your life. And even if you can't see it physically, begin to say it out loud. Begin to speak as if it has already happened. Begin to speak it into existence. Begin to say things, begin to say positive words over yourself. And yes, if you're not feeling that well, you're not feeling that good, it could be harder to get yourself geared up. You know what I'm saying? But start small. You don't have to say a whole 10 word sentence. Start with 3 words. I am happy. I am healthy. I am powerful. Start small. If you can't like work up yourself, if you're depressed or you're not feeling well or you're stressed out right now, like if you can't work yourself out of that immediately, that's fine. But the trick of the trade is, as soon as you feel that, you get out, you try to snap out of that, or place that negative energy away from you. You're not claiming it. You're observing it, you see it, but you're not claiming it. And then so as the opposite is, if you see a lot of positive energy, you're feeling a lot of positive manifestation. Okay, as it's rising, then you want to catch on to that. Then you want to grab a hold of that, because that positivity, that good energy is going to spread. So it could spread negatively or it could spread positively. The choice is yours. All right. So once again, you all, feel free to like, subscribe, and share. You can check out links in the box below. And I will see you all to support in the next video. Make sure you thumbs up. Seriously, watch this video as many times as you want. Get this good energy in your spirit, in your energy to start your day. Watch this to start your day, and really get your mind positioned for the day, because it all starts in the mind. The emotions follow the mind, the thoughts. It's really all like how you're wired, I want to say. So begin to wire yourself for success, right? Begin to wire yourself for prosperity. Begin to wire yourself to be untouchable, unbothered. No matter what is going on, that something good is going to come out of it for you. That's how you have to think. And it may be, if you tell somebody who's not really like on that path or understands that, they're going to say, oh, that's rubbish. That's foo-foo. That's ridiculous. But that's because they don't see it like that. That's because they don't have the tools, like I said, to override what the matrix has defaulted for us to be, which is negative, which is for us to be suffering, impoverished. Like, this is how they programmed it. So you literally have to fight. You have to fight for your right to be happy. You have to fight for your right to be prosperous. You have to fight for your right to be full of knowledge, okay, and strategy and technique. You have to fight for the right to feel at peace, to feel restful. You have to literally be able to stand up for yourself without somebody coming to rescue you. Like, that's literally how life is. You can have all the support people in the world, but if you don't uplift yourself, then it doesn't matter what people are saying to you around you. If you don't feel it within yourself, if you're not convinced of it, then you're not gonna believe it. So you have to literally convince yourself. Even if you don't feel it, even if you don't see any change happening right now, continue to speak life. Continue to listen to positive words, messages, sermons, meditations. Continue, continue to press forward, even if it feels hard. It feels like you're going against something, because you are. You're going against the negative forces. You're going against feeling sad. You're going against feeling unhopeful. Like you are going against it. You're pushing back. So at first you're going to feel resistance, but you have to keep going. You have to keep going until the very end, until this vessel, this life is over. You know, you have to keep fighting every day. And if you're not willing to fight, life is going to have its way with you. And I'm speaking what I know, and I'm speaking what I've learned is like, people, places, things, life is going to have its way with you. If you're not in control, then who's in control? If you're in the back seat and demons, negative people, haters, jealous people, people who don't want to see you succeed, toxic friends, family, whatever, are in the driver's seat, and you're in the passenger seat, or you're in the back seat, who's controlling this life here? Who's controlling you? You know what I'm saying? And that's a scary thought. So think about it. Ask yourself. I'm going to leave you with this. Ask yourself, who's controlling you? Are you controlling you? Are you controlling your life, or is somebody else in the driver's seat? All right. Love y'all. Take care. Bye.